the wage gap. What is that?
I don't know what do you mean? What is it?
Well, you kind of brought it up.
How much men get paid versus women in the same workplace.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? You brought it up, didn't you?
I just said, well, you were the one who said wage gap yourself. That was you. That wasn't me.
Oh, okay. So you want to just talk about that men...
I was just talking about in the workplace. I didn't say anything specific.
Okay, what did you say about men in the workplace?
I said I felt like that women are just not put as high as them. Like
women are not put as high.
We are still like looked down upon, like as if we cannot do the same things.
Which things?
The things
physical labor?
Do. Well, I'm looking in the comments over here, and they're saying that like we base things off of emotion and how we're supposed to be more submissive, and I just feel like that.
Well, I'm not looking at the chat right now, so I can't.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at them. That's what they were saying.
Okay.
And it's just something that I disagree with. I don't believe these same things. I don't think that women should be submissive, or do you think that we should be? Like, I know plenty of women, if they're being submissive, it's out of fear for standing up for themselves.
Well, I mean, I think you can maneuver through the world however you like, but I mean, we're talking about two different things now. When people are talking about being submissive, they're usually talking about that within the context of a relationship.
Yeah.
But we're talking about like the workplace.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying.
I don't think women should be submissive in the workplace.
Yeah.
But I mean, so are we... What are we talking about?
I was just bouncing off that.
In the workplace, and like I'm sure you can pull up a study, like they've done studies where a man and a woman have the same exact job and the man's earning more.
That's not true.
I mean,
the wage gap, is the wage gap not real?
It's been debunked.
Since when? When was that?
For pretty much forever.
Are we just supposed to take your word for it?
Exactly.
So, I mean, we can pull up the pace. I scuffed. Now is it too zoomed out, boys?
It looks great.
I think it's too zoomed out. Okay, so here, first we'll come back to the wage gap thing. Why don't we start with men occupying the highest positions in careers and in politics, right? So as far as politics go, women make the majority of the electorate. So what is, if you guys were so inclined, you could vote into power a woman.
Yeah, but my vote amongst millions, like it's like a needle in a haystack.
But as a group, women.
Well, how can I get in contact with all women of the United States?
That's a good question. You got to start a Facebook group or some shit. Start a little group chat. But so, and then, okay, let's talk about the workplace, right? So are there more men who are on boards of companies and who are CEOs and executives and vice presidents? Yes, that's true. Mm-hmm. However, you also, so okay, you're talking sort of the glass ceiling, right? Have you heard that term, the glass ceiling? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that women have like difficulty rising to the top positions in government and politics and the workplace. Well, you can't look at that and also ignore the glass cellar, which is while men occupy the supposed best positions, we also occupy the worst positions by a far greater margin than we occupy the best positions.
What are the worst?
What are the worst positions? Yeah. Garbage collector, people working in coal mines, people working out on oil rigs, dangerous jobs. 93% of workplace deaths are men. The vast majority of people getting injured on the job are men. So you have to ask yourself, well, why is it that men occupy both the best and the worst positions?
I think when thinking about like higher authoritative positions, you know, obviously back in the day we kind of started as men occupied those just because women were expected and like had to stay at home to take care of the kids, the house chores, etc. And as we grow out of that now, women are still a little bit behind because men are already implemented in those higher authoritative like positions, right? And it's not that women aren't reaching for like those positions. It's just a little harder when you know, a lot more men are like, let's say, in that position. And
so do you think there's like a
have an
boys
advantage.
club that people in corporations where the main motivation is making money?
Yes.
It's just, yeah, we just want a bunch of guys. We don't want women.
Absolutely. Yeah, my grandpa was actually in the Freemasons, and they didn't like
the fuck?
go through, you know, like obviously being like, fuck women, we just want men, we don't want to make more money and stuff like that. But it was like exclusively a boys, like a men's club, where they had a lot more connections. And then eventually, you know, women branched off of that, and there's the Rainbow Girls, which is a
The
branch
Rainbow
off.
Girls.
The branch off of.
Are we talking conspiracy
The
theory? What are we talking?
Freemason.
The
It's just a-
Freemasons.
it's a
I have no
club.
idea what that is, but okay.
Yeah.
So ultimately it comes down to choice. Men and women make different choices in what they study, in the fields that they want to go in, and that's going to have an impact on the money they earn and the positions that they occupy. So I haven't convinced them. Okay, so
So, like, what would you say, like, in a situation where, like, Harvey Weinstein or, like...
Harvey Weinstein, what does that has nothing
I'm
to
just
do.
saying, like, that's a man in power. Or, like,
That's totally irrelevant. I
how
don't
is
know.
that irrelevant? That's a man in power, and, like, he totally abused his power.
That's not
being-
really related to, I mean, that's not really related to what we're talking about. So
Yeah, it is.
But he's a really powerful man, right? Or he was a really powerful man.
that's totally unrelated to the broad topic at hand,
But you're
which
talking
is
about, like, basically women and men make choices, which is why they're in the positions they're in, right?
okay. Let's talk about Indira Gandhi. Let's talk about Indira Gandhi.
But I'm
then.
just saying, you said
she was a terrible leader in India.
But you
let's talk
said
about Indira Gandhi.
women and men make choices that put them where they want to be.
Yes.
Okay, so
There's-
Harvey Weinstein was a very powerful man, right?
Well, okay, but what, I don't
Like, you don't want
understand-
to talk about that topic. We don't have to talk about that topic. That's fine.
But I'm not understanding the point you're trying to make
It's
here.
like, I understand what you say, like, women and men make choices and that puts them in the place they are, or like that's how you feel. Okay, that's cool. Now then, we don't even have to say names. There have been men in power who are in power, and they abuse and utilize their power not
Sure.
to put women in position or to bring women and men together. It's been like, without saying names, there's been like, oh, like I can ruin your or end your career as a man with my power, and you're a woman because you're not following the choices or like doing the stuff I want you to do.
The exception does not make the rule. I mean, this is an outlier situation. Harvey Weinstein was a terrible person, abuser, but I mean,
But he would have never been able to do that if he wasn't in power and had the power he had, right? Or like got as far as he got with it.
I
And
just-
it's
I
not
don't-
really an outlier situation. Think about like Dr. Luke and Kesha, or it just came out like Ashanti.
Well, okay,
there
but
was like
we're
a
talking,
music.
We're talking about
producer.
you're talking about like the casting couch in Hollywood. Is it, yes, is it other people? Of course. But I mean, it's just it's totally unrelated to the topic at hand. So you were talking about, okay, why is it that men have all these positions of power?
But they're talking about men in power, or men
Okay,
in power
well,
doesn't necessarily
let's talk
have to be
about Genghis
politics.
Khan. Like,
But there's a lot of like you're gonna talk about women, but there's a lot of men to talk about too.
we're speaking in generalities here. We're not looking at individual cases.
Boo men, yay women.
Oh my God. What a
Literally.
mess.